You guys see Ken Griffey Jr. doing something for baseball, posted on HBCUs. So I thought about it. He reminded me of something. Coach Prime has been fantastic for HBCUs. We have been honing in, of course. Shameless plug. We're gonna be in a documentary series with him.
That's all right.
But let's not forget Chris Paul.
Can it be just a plug?
Yeah, it can't be said. It's right. Let's not forget stuff like people. I think Ken Griffey Jr. reminded me of the stuff. Chris Paul started this whole thing with the shoes and the fact he went back to Winston State and all that.
Right.
There's some guys that's been out there that's really been repping the HBCU brand and the schools for a minute. So I don't want to get them overshadowed because. Coach Brown's been doing this thing, and unbelievable. But that's some other people doing some work in the background or has done some work in the past as well. And we don't talk enough about that because Brown came in so strong with JSU and it's football. But people like Chris Paul's been doing some stuff, and some other guys been doing some things. Even JR over at A&T's been repping some stuff. It's just a lot of guys who were not associated with HBCUs that involved with HBCUs and help elevating that brand.
What do you think people think when they see Jason Tatum's of the world, Chris Paul's, and others, and Ken Griffey's and others repping HBCUs and talking about HBCUs, and your entire staff and others, your agents and people who have been around you are not people of color? What do you think they feel? They feel alienated, you think?
I'm not feel alienated. I think they feel, well, that could be it too.
They feel disconnected?
It could be that, or it could be they on something that I need to find out what's going on because this is new stuff going on, or it's not new, but in their minds it's new because the attention is there. So maybe I need to go figure out what's going on with that.
When they go back to the rooms that we're not in,
sure.
What do you think they say? What do you guys think they say?
They say we got to get on the train.
I don't think that's what they say.
You don't think they ask them anything about it? Like why you're doing
it? No, well, since you sit in front of them, yeah.
Right.
What I'm saying is when they go back to rooms that we're not in.
Right, okay.
What do you think they say?
What is this about?
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What is this about?
Yes.
And then how do we get a part of it?
Absolutely.
But does that always translate to anything? And I guess the reason I'm asking because there's a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy, right? And when there's a lot of energy, a lot of times there's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
When there's a lot of money being thrown around, a lot of people show up.
Yeah.
Start asking questions. So the question, I guess that I'm just curious about, because I may not answer one way or the other. I'm just curious about, like, what's actually happening now in rooms that we're not in, because we know what we're doing. Because always ours is on front, full display. So we know what we're doing. So what kind of questions, what kind of initiatives, what are the thoughts in the rooms that we're not in? You know what I mean?
Well, that's the same conversation you have about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Same kind of conversation. I mean, before it was always something people talked about in different pockets, but never in the boardroom. And that's becoming a legitimate conversation because people want, and we had people in our studio yesterday, some great friends at Oscar, they talked about that. They want their company to reflect how what America is, and with all this movements that's been going on, this whole political season we just went through, the D&I push that let everybody's involved in. Those all the things kind of merge together is part of the reason why people want to get involved. Then of course the HBCU brand taking off in several sports, in corporate America. Everybody's trying to get involved because I think hopefully, in my opinion, people feel like it's the right thing to do. It's long overdue. It's been done. Should have been done a long time ago.
Right, which makes the other point about, with what Deion has done and him leaving, this exposure, this energy should help even more. And that's beyond what he did on campus. Now everybody's talking about. Now it's more attention to it. So maybe more corporations and will get on board.
That's what I thought about Chris Paul with the All-Star game where they had those two HBCU games going on. And I think even outside the All-Star game, I think they got like a HBCU classic somewhere like he had in Phoenix one time. And when Ken Griffey Jr. with the All-Star game, he was doing with HBCU. So I think it's going to continue, and I'm encouraged. Even though Deion's going to Colorado, I thought about who else can do. That's what people are doing all the time. It's just it's not as big as Deion because Deion's on 60 Minutes. You know, he has that name. He's a Hall of Famer, and he brings a lot of credibility with him when he does things like that.
Yeah, it's a lot to be said. You know, the old adage. You know, if you ain't for me, you're against me, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's getting to be a lot easier to see who's not for you, right? Or who's not on board, or who's not interested, right? Who's not interested in being a part of it. It's getting to be a lot easier to see who that is and where they are.
Right.
So as long as we take note of that, I think the movement will continue. I think we'll continue to progress because collectively I think we can all get better. But as long as we continue to take note for those that don't want to be a part of, what we all consider to be what's right.
So some people will never be a part of it. It's just part of their
just
DNA.
Right.
And that's fine.
And I think one thing that's very important.
I just want to make sure right. We know, everybody know that I know that we know who you are.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it is what. As a matter of fact, I'd rather you show us who you are. You know what I'm saying? I want to know because I don't be faking it.
Right.
Just be real with it, so then we could just check that off the box right there.
And I think one very important piece of that, and you talk about Chris Paul and other people in there, is who makes the ask most often.
Yeah, that's true.
It's on relationships.
Oh yeah, relationships is the word. We talk about that all the time.
That's where Deion, the name recognition and the relationships. So we need more people to come make the ask.
Yeah, because if I would call Walmart and say go put a new practice field for Alabama A&M, it'd probably fall on deaf ears.
But Jason Tatum called.
Right, exactly. John Stallworth, we call somebody, it may happen. But so I think it's all about relationships. It's about the ask. Yeah,
I mean, it's like it's like real life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's a blind date, that your friends set up that Then there's a blind date that you get off of that. They're two different things.
Very.
They still both blind date, but they two different things. Trust me.
And which one are you more apt to go with? The one your friend.
You may go to both, but you go look at one of them much differently than the other one.
Boy, that's an interesting example of relationships, isn't it? Right there.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's a different ass. That's a different ass.
Yeah.
It is.
Hey, I'm K-Mac. Yeah, who? What? And Jason Tatum and his agent. We're the same.
No, it's the same.
You know what I mean? One of us came from an app.
Yeah, and I'll probably meet you at Starbucks. And Jason, you can come to the office.
Wow.
Facts. I mean,
we might not know him personally, but we know him.
Yeah.
Hey, trust me. Facts.
Mm-hmm.
So this is interesting, and the only reason I brought that up is I want to, hopefully that people will continue to carry the, the baton in terms of in terms of continuing to enrich the HBCU landscape and all the attention that it deserves. And at some point, it'll become a normalcy. We won't even have to focus on it because everybody is part of the mainstream, which is not right now, but we want it to be that way.
Somebody asked me the other day, they said, well, what do you want me to do? What, just send them a check?
Yeah, let's start there.
That's the start.
Because I said the other day.
So you just want my money?
Well, it helps. But we want your money, we want your treasure, we want your time as well.
Right.
Because a lot of times you can do things doesn't require money. You can set up interviews with students and with some of these corporations, and you don't have nothing to do about money per se.
Or like we talked about yesterday, internships.
It could be about being an influencer and allowing things to happen for the HBCU students, crowd, or whatever. So it doesn't require no money to do that. So that's what we are. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation that we have often on the show because we've been there a long time before before it wasn't even popular. By the way,
I was black before Deion.
I think I was too. I was black before you, and you.
Exactly.
I know that.
Was I black before you, Pam?
Yes, you were black before
me.
You
sure?
Well, you were black way before me.
No. Whoa.
Deion Reese came back, Pam doesn't spell.
Like what, 2 years?
Black always will be. See you on the side. Let's go.
I'm a red bomber.